All right, so if you've been in this space for a while, you probably thought layer twos were like the final answer to blockchain scaling, right? Well, think again. Today, we're going a level deeper. We're going to talk about layer threes and what this whole modular future for blockchain really looks like. Because let's be real, the quest for scalability, it never stops. It's this constant evolution, and it definitely doesn't just end at layer two. It stacks. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now. Okay, so here's the game plan. First up, what even are layer threes? Then we'll get into why this whole modular thing is such a big deal, a real game changer. After that, we'll look at the seriously cool stuff this tech unlocks. And finally, we gotta be realistic and weigh the risks. All right, let's dive right into it. What exactly are we talking about with layer threes? Well, you can think of it as a move towards intense specialization. We're literally going another level deeper in the blockchain stack, all to optimize for super specific tasks. So at its core, a layer 3 is an application-specific blockchain that's built right on top of a layer 2. You know, if layer 1 is the foundation and layer 2 is the first few floors, a layer 3 is like adding a custom, highly specialized penthouse. Its entire reason for existing is just hyper-optimization for one specific thing. So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, picture this, a dedicated chain built just for a massive online game, handling millions of in-game actions with zero lag. Or how about a custom-built trading engine for high-frequency finance, where every microsecond is pure money? We're even talking about enterprise-specific roll-ups, for all that complex business logic and compliance stuff. Now, this kind of extreme specialization, it's only possible because of a really fundamental shift in how we think about designing blockchains. It's all about what we call the modular advantage. And the core idea is simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Sometimes splitting things up is just smarter. But okay, how do you actually get there? How do you achieve that true specialization? I mean, for the longest time, blockchains have tried to be the jack of all trades, right? They try to do everything for everyone. And what happens? They end up being master of none. So how do we get to that hyper-optimization we so desperately need? And the answer is this huge shift from what's called a monolithic design to a modular one. The old way, the monolithic way, meant one single chain did the whole shebang. It processed transactions, it finalized them, it stored the data, all bundled together. The new way, the modular approach, says, no, let's split those core jobs up into specialized layers. So what are we splitting up exactly? Well, there are 3 core tasks. First, you've got execution. That's just processing the transactions. It's the engine of the whole thing. Next is settlement. This is where transactions are made final and where any disputes get resolved. It's kind of like the ultimate court of truth. And finally, and this one is so crucial, you have data availability. This just makes sure that all the data is out there and accessible so anyone can come in and check that the chain is legit. By pulling these apart, you can optimize each piece on its own. And when you split them up, you unlock some huge benefits. Suddenly, you can build a ridiculously fast execution layer without messing with the rock-solid security of your settlement layer. This kind of specialization naturally drives costs way down. It also just lets people innovate faster, right? Developers can just focus on one piece of the puzzle. And maybe the most important part, it lets a network like Ethereum do what it does best, be the ultimate secure settlement layer for this whole sprawling ecosystem. Okay, so that's the theory, that's the architecture. But what can we actually build with all this? This is where things get really exciting. This is where performance truly meets potential. You know, this quote right here, it perfectly captures what has been the holy grail for blockchain developers for years. The dream has always been to get that smooth, fast, seamless performance of the best Web2 apps, but combine it with the security and decentralization of Web3. And it looks like modular architecture, especially with L3s, might just be the key to finally making that happen. So what does this really unlock? I'm talking about high-frequency trading platforms where every single millisecond counts. I'm talking about truly complex, on-chain games with thousands of players all interacting in the same world. And the network doesn't just grind to a halt. You could even have private, super high-throughput chains for huge companies to run their supply chains, all with the trust guarantees of a blockchain. I mean, these are things that are they're impossible on a single old-school monolithic chain. But look, this isn't some magic bullet, okay? With any huge leap forward like this, new challenges are going to pop up. It's so important that we understand the trade-offs that come with just adding more and more layers to the stack. Yeah, all this power definitely doesn't come for free. First off, stacking all these layers makes things way more technically complex for developers. It also creates a real risk of fragmenting liquidity, scattering money across dozens of different chains. And, if we're not careful, it could create a really confusing, really clunky user experience for regular people. And yet, despite all those challenges, the direction of the market seems pretty clear. The demand for high performance is just so massive that the entire industry is basically betting that, yeah, these problems are tough, but they're solvable. And why? Because the drive to get the next billion users into this ecosystem and build truly powerful apps, well, that's the ultimate motivation. So here's the big takeaway from all this. We are still in the super, super early days of this modular world. There is a lot left to figure out, no question. But the destination? It feels pretty clear. The future of blockchain scaling is looking more and more modular. It's really not a question of if anymore, it's a question of when. And all of this leaves us with one massive question to chew on. As all these layers keep stacking up, what does the grand future of Ethereum scaling actually look like? Are we building a clean, perfectly integrated skyscraper, or is it going to be more like a chaotic, sprawling city of interconnected chains? Honestly, the answer is still being written. Thanks for tuning in.
Subscribe and visit Web3 Newswire for visibility and credibility of your Web3 projects.